Hey everyone, I have an important update to give you on stimulus and stimulus checks on this Monday, December 7th. But hey, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Matt, and if you're returning, welcome back. It's nice to see you once again. Feel free to share this video or any of my others with any of your friends, family members, or just anybody that you think could benefit from this information, as I'm back on a daily basis as your advocate or the underdog advocate. So thank you so much for allowing me to come into your home on a daily basis and for continuing to choose me. I really appreciate it. And of course, make sure you're subscribed if you haven't done so already. All right, let's get into this and talk about the latest and most current information that we have on stimulus. This is actually big news, so we want to get into it and talk about all the updates. So, remember last week we had a lot of updates on stimulus, the proposals that came out. Well, over the weekend, we continue to have more information and statements from influential people in Congress and the leaders. So, let's get into it and talk about it. It's expected that President Trump and Mitch McConnell are going to also support and back this $908 billion proposal that was proposed last week. Remember, we were talking about, we weren't sure initially if President Trump and or Mitch McConnell would actually support this. Well, it's anticipated, according to some people in Congress, that these two will actually go forward and support this $908 billion stimulus package. Over the weekend, Senator Bill Cassidy said the pain of the American people is what is driving this. Yeah, for sure it is, right? The pain of the American people for how many months now? They're finally just figuring that out that, yeah, hey, the American people are in pain. Yep. So glad that these people have intuition and can figure that out. So yeah, that's absolutely true. So, the stimulus package, like I said, it was proposed last week. However, lawmakers continued to work on it throughout the weekend, writing the language, and it's expected to be introduced today, Monday, December 7th. However, it's going to be attached to that larger government spending bill. Now, that has nothing to do with stimulus. This is just their way to get it passed and pushed through. So they're attaching it to that government spending bill, which has a price tag of about $1.4 trillion, and it contains about 12 different bills within it. But that's a totally different topic. It doesn't really matter when it comes to stimulus. Basically, it has nothing for us, so we don't really care about it, right? We want to talk about what pertains to us. So late last week, we had Joe Biden, among many other people in Congress, coming out and openly announcing, hey guys, you need to attach stimulus checks to this $908 billion proposal. Remember, the reason they didn't attach them, they apparently said, oh, we wanted to keep the price low, we wanted to lower the price tag, so we left out stimulus checks, which has a price tag of about $300 billion, roughly. Not quite that much, but roughly $300 billion. So they left them out. Well, over the weekend, as they continue writing the language, here's the news that nobody wants to hear. Unfortunately, stimulus checks were not added, and they're not going to be added. So, that's incredibly frustrating to see that. We were hoping, with all the calls that we had from all the different people in Congress, including Joe Biden, among many other people, calling for stimulus checks to be added to the stimulus package, that it would actually happen over the weekend. However, it didn't, and it's expected that the stimulus proposal is going to be introduced in its current state, which will not have stimulus checks. So, this is like making that phone call that you never want to make. You know the phone call I'm talking about. Everybody's done it or you've received it, right? That phone call that you never want to make or receive. Well, I feel like I'm that guy right now, making that phone call. This sucks. I don't want to be this guy telling you guys this right now, but this is the reality. So, it's expected that the stimulus checks are going to be up to Joe Biden to wrestle around with Congress in January after the inauguration. So hopefully old Joe can put on his boxing gloves and get his wrestling suit on, pull out the spandex, Joe, and start wrestling with Congress to get those stimulus checks approved so that we can get those distributed next year. So I think a lot of us saw this coming to some extent, but at the same time, I think a lot of us were also hoping that these people in Congress would come to their senses over the weekend and actually put the stimulus checks in the package. I actually kind of have to laugh at that statement that I just said a few minutes ago from Bill Cassidy over the weekend, that the pain of the American people is what is driving this. I laugh at that because it's like, you guys are right. The pain of the American people is what's driving this, but it kind of makes me wonder what is in this stimulus package. It's $908 billion of spending, but what within it is helping the people? I mean, a little bit, which I'll talk about here in just a second, but not much. It's only like a couple $100 billion of all the money that's in that package. The rest of it is just like, they're just kind of blowing it into the wind. So yeah, real cool. Nice. So anyway, what is in this stimulus package? Where is it going to reach the people? Where is it going to reach the people? Like I just said. Well, here's what it has within it. It has $300 of the unemployment boost, that federal boost of $300. So it's going to do that at a rate of $300. It has PPP for small business. Again, that doesn't really reach the people. That's for small business. And it does have the extension of the eviction ban. The extension of the eviction ban. So I guess we could be looking at it and think, well, yeah, we didn't get stimulus checks, but at the same time, we're getting that eviction ban. So many of you who haven't been able to pay your rent over the last however many months, maybe it's 1 month, maybe it's 6 months, it doesn't really matter. The fact is, it sounds like they're going to be extending the eviction ban for a couple more months, which is actually good. Worst case scenario, at least it gets us out of like the depths of winter and the cold weather. I mean, nobody wants to be evicted. I totally agree with that. Eviction is a bad thing. That's a really serious issue. But at the same time, at least they're going to extend it further out into hopefully spring. So worst case scenario, if people happen to get evicted, at least it's not in like the deepest, darkest, coldest time of the year called January 1st. So it's expected that this stimulus proposal will continue to move forward today and this week, as we know that they need to have that stimulus or the government spending bill passed later this week, unless, of course, they continue to kick it down the road another week, which they absolutely could do. But at this point, the likelihood of them adding stimulus checks into this stimulus proposal as it currently stands is highly unlikely. So I don't want to be telling you guys this stuff right now. Seriously, when I saw all this and I was preparing this video, I thought this is not going to be a fun video to produce. But as I've always said, I'm committed to doing everything I can to be here for you on a daily basis. So where does this make us stand? We're probably going to have a couple more updates on stimulus going forward throughout the week and into next week. But realistically, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of talk about stimulus checks until January. At that point, it's going to be a whole different ball game, and there's a lot of talk that we're probably going to see stimulus then. But that's a long time from now. I mean, that's a month and a half from now, until we can start talking. Well, I mean, we're going to talk stimulus checks before then, but until, stimulus checks can actually get a serious look and serious consideration is going to be basically the end of January. At that time, I think it's highly likely that we probably could get stimulus checks once again. So between now and then, I'm going to continue doing a ton of research, a ton of work. What can we do now, between now and the next month and a half, until the next glimpse of stimulus checks could be on the radar? So trust me, I'm going to continue doing what I can to be here for you and to offer my commitment to you, which is I'm going to help you through this time in any way that I possibly can. So hang with me if you can. I sincerely appreciate it. I want to continue doing what I can. Of course, I've continued to bring you these daily stimulus updates. Well, there's not much to talk about if I continue coming back on a daily basis saying, hey, they overlooked everybody, as they typically always do, and there's not much for stimulus right now. So this is what we have as of now. Of course, I'll continue watching everything very closely and give you any updates, but stay safe out there. I'll continue to have your back, as I always do. Thanks so much for your continued support. Please be sure to check out any of my other videos. Please be sure to share them if you want with anybody, and I'll continue doing tons of research and seeing what I can do to help all of you guys out. So thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Stay safe, and I'll catch you again later. See you, everybody.